everyone, please subscribe to my channel in order to automatically be entered to win this beautiful 8-foot by 4-foot quartet whiteboard that I am using here. On New Year's Eve 2021, I will be selecting the lucky winner out of all my United States subscribers via video. Details of the contest can be found at math4th.org. Remember, all the money earned from this channel goes directly to UncleSonny's.org to help the homeless. Thank you. Hello everyone, I'm Isabella Valentino, and today we're going to be doing a couple of algebraic problems. So here we have a question that says, what is the solution xy to the expressions given? So here they give us two equations, and what we want to do is try to get both the x and y value. That way we can fill it into a coordinate form, right? So what we're going to do, I'm going to rewrite them, but what we are going to do is either add them or subtract them. That way we can get either the x value or y value. Okay, so first I'm going to put this one above the other one, and I'll show you why in a moment. So the reason I did this is because I can see, right, just a little tip, is that when we're trying to get it into this form, right, first we're going to solve for either the x or the y. I'm going to solve for the x in this case because you can see the y values are the same. You have 6y and 6y. So if you were to solve for the y, if you didn't change this, right, if you were to subtract, the y's would cross out and you would get 0. If you were to add both of these, you would get 12y, but then you would also get a value for x. So that's why it would not be a good idea when you have the same value for one of your variables, right? If you have the same coefficient, it is not a good idea to either add or subtract the two equations and try to solve for that value first. So always try to go for the one that is not the same value first. Okay, so that would be the x in this case, because we have two different coefficients. So now that we know that, when we're solving for x, we want the y to equal 0, right? So we would do subtraction. Because if we did addition, right, just think about this. If we did addition here, I'll just make that addition sign, we would get 7x plus 12y, right? But we don't want to do that because what we want is just x alone. We don't want y in this. So we want to stick with subtraction because by doing that, we would get rid of the y value completely. So if we subtract this, remember when you're subtracting, you are taking this negative sign and distributing through every single one of these. So you're doing 5 minus 2, 6 minus 6, and 9 minus 3. Okay? So you have 5x minus 2x would become 7. No, that would not. You would get 5 minus 2x would be 3x, right? And then we would have our 6y minus 6y would become 0. So we don't even need to write that, but just to visualize it, I will. And then we have our 9 minus 3 is just 6. So we take out the 0, we just get 3x is equal to 6. And again, because we're looking for just x alone, we would divide the 3 on both sides, and we would get x is equal to 2. All right? And now, because we have one value, we can just take one of these equations, fill in the x value, and get what the y value is. So for me, I'm going to pick the equation that looks a little simpler just because the numbers are smaller. So I'm going to pick the 2x plus 6y is equal to 3, right? I'm going to take all the x values and fill it in for 2. Fill 2 in for it, right? So we get 2 times 2 is 4, plus 6y is equal to 3. So now we subtract the 4 over, and you'll get 6y is equal to 3 minus 4, which is just negative 1. Okay, and again, we want y alone, so you would divide by 6 on both sides, and you'll get the y value is negative 1 over 6. Right? So again, because the problem asked it to be given in the xy coordinate form, what we would do, just say, right, we want x comma y, so we'll fill that in for what we know the values are, with 2 for x and negative 1/6 for our y. Alright, so I'm just going to take a moment and we are going to erase the board and I will put up a new problem. Alright, so now we have the same question but just with different expressions. Again, we're looking for the same thing, just in our coordinate form, our x and y values. So I'm just going to take a second to rewrite this. Right? We have 6x plus 5y is equal to 4. And before I go on, I just want to take a second. Before in the previous problem, what we had was both, we had a 6y and a 6y, right? We have two coefficients the same, right? So we want to try to achieve the same thing here. That way it will be easier to solve for one variable at a time. So one thing you can do to modify this lower equation, the equation on the bottom, to make it similar so you get the same coefficients in one of them, would be multiply this by 2. Because by multiplying this whole equation by 2, you will get 6x here. And when you get 6x over here, if we were to subtract these two equations, right, this would cross out and you would get 0 here. And then you could solve for the y value. Okay? So by doing this, across the whole problem, right, you would get 6x plus 4y is equal to 4. Okay, so now using our modified equation, I'm going to rewrite that over here. Plus 4y is equal to 4. So now that we have both x values the same, with the same coefficient, I can just say we are going to subtract here. That way we would get rid of both x values, right? And that would just equal 0. Because 6x minus 6x is equal to 0. Okay? And then we can continue on with our problem and solve for y. So then we have 5y minus 4y. That would just be 1y. So that's positive. And that would be equal to 0 because 4 minus 4 is 0. Okay? So y is equal to 0. Okay, and now that we know that, we can just fill in our y value into either equation. I'm going to fill it into the beginning equation, our original, just again because it's smaller numbers and it will be faster to do. So if we have our 3x plus 2y is equal to 2, all we need to do is fill in our y as 0, and we can get our x value. 3x plus 2 times 0 is equal to 2. Right? So we would get 3x plus 0 is equal to 2. And if we just rewrite that, we get 3x is equal to 2 because the 0 does not mean anything. Divide by 3, so we can get x alone. And we get x is equal to 2/3. So now again, because I wanted this in our coordinate form, x comma y, we'll just say x comma y, and we'll fill in our values. So our x was 2/3, and our y was 0. Right? So hopefully that helped you guys. Like I always say, this will always get easier as you do more problems. the main thing here is just to always remember to get it into your XY form, right? Because we want to know what it would look like if we were plotting it on a graph, right? Because that is our coordinate form. So again, hopefully that helped you, and thank you so much for watching.